All right. On the treadmill by 5 a.m. I realized yesterday that that my recording was a horrible disaster. I didn't actually successfully stream anything, really. So I got a better mic today. So that's cool. Just talking to Picard right now. Trying to talk to Picard. So if I walk at this pace for 4 hours, until 9 a.m., that'll be 10 miles at a slight incline of 3%. I had to figure out how to hack this treadmill to get it into marathon mode. I had to like go into the manager config settings and stuff. And you know, I think this is like a good way to this is actually like a good way to read while you're walking because it keeps the blood flowing. And it's hard to just like tune out and fall asleep. I don't know if I'm going to read through this whole thing. We'll see. I mean, probably just won't read anything, right? Probably just burn out instantly. But if I do keep up this habit for a bit, I might actually like read a different book. I don't know. I wanted to read Montaigne for a while. The Montaigne volume I have. His essays. But he's a skeptic. Or the skeptic, as Emerson called him. So I imagine that's going to be different from St. Augustine. You know, the skeptic is like, well, you can't prove it, then you can't prove it. Anything could be the truth. He was probably like one of the first people to really make that point. That's not true. But Socrates and Aristotle and Plato, as Socrates was always saying that, from the little bit I've read of Plato, he's always talking about how you don't know anything. Nobody knows anything. Not really, except God. And then every discussion he would have would end with, well, I guess we didn't really find anything out, did we? I guess we're both still stupid, huh? He was just always trying to convince whoever he was talking to that, listen, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm not going to pretend to know what I'm talking about, but I'm going to make you acknowledge that you don't know what you're talking about. Okay, let's see.
I am sorry, Jared. Something went wrong on my side. Please ask me again.
Two caveats. So you know what it was, what's still broken versus fixed. Picard's fresh and ready for you. And I can see you're still in bridge. Here's the state. Fresh brain, no wedge. Healthy, 0 errors. Autonomy paused. Voice fully loaded. All right, let's see if he works this time. Picard, listen.
Listening.
Picard, listen.
Listening.
Is he responding? Picard, listen.
Listening.
All right. So the very first thing I notice right off the bat is when I say Picard, listen.
Listening.
I can see his little thing light up, but the chirp is not coming through clearly. I don't know what happened. Maybe I don't know why that would be broken all of a sudden, but it's just like I don't hear anything. And I know I can hear. I know that it's not the Discord settings because I heard him say something just a few seconds ago. Let me look at what happened when the wake fires, the chirp playback path. You're not hearing it. Yeah, it's almost like he's using push to talk, but he's not holding the button down long enough or something. I don't know why, but it gets like really hot in this little corner back here. Not really hot. It doesn't really get hot, but you sweat like crazy. I don't feel hot when I'm back here, but I start sweating like immediately. Exactly, that's a perfect description of it. The clipping. Good news, this is a clean, well-known fix. I like to talk to my AI in the morning when I drink my caffeinated tea, because that's like the only time when I really feel like expressing my ideas. Something I've noticed is like I feel like trying to build something with AI, at least for me, the experience has been day after day after day after day, just like rambling to the AI, like, but to do this, to do this, and to do this, and if we do this, and okay, go ahead. It does a bunch of shit. You try to kind of see what it did and if it's working. And but it's led to some good ideas, I think, that way of working, like you're actually collaborating with somebody. You're actually collaborating with somebody who's always has to listen to you and has to like respond in some kind of way. That's the key benefit, is that it's if it's anything, it's just like a good rubber duck to talk to. So I've been using Claude. I've been talking to Claude for like the past year now. And every day pretty much, because I've got access to the max data plan, which is not infinite data. I definitely run out of it, but I've had it for a year and had this big project at my job, so I could talk to it every day, trying to actually build something for that. And now that that's like in QA and stuff and being tested, I've got time to like talk to it more about my own stuff. But I mean, I feel like I've probably learned a lot just trying to use it every day. Even if I can't really articulate what I've learned, sometimes I can partially articulate, solutions to things that what I've learned sort of like led me to. And that's good, because then you feed that back to the AI and it builds stuff. So it's sort of like, if you're the type of person who's like creative and always coming up with ideas for things, like, oh yeah, if it did this, that would work better. If that did that, that would work better. But, you never like actually build anything because it would take too much effort. Well, it's actually like a pretty good pairing with AI, because you could just keep feeding your ideas to AI. And that's the thing that it doesn't have. It doesn't have the creativity that humans have. Like the vision. But it'll do all the busy work. Not really well quite yet. But that's why I'm building what I'm building. At least for me personally, I'll have a system that actually can build stuff that you wanted to build without you having to put too much effort into it. Well, you still have to put a lot of effort into it, but the effort won't be wasted the way it kind of is now currently. People will just ramble to raw AI And yeah, it'll start to build stuff. But at a certain point, it's just like, well, now it's fucking up. Now it can't seem to do anything I ask it to. And I don't know why. Well, it's because you didn't have any systems in place for it to use the way a developer would normally use systems to, manage all of the different tasks, keep the code base clean, just use good practices and methodologies in the first place. That's the problem. It's like AI, like, sure, it can do a very specific task extremely well, but it doesn't have like the knowledge or the wisdom of a seasoned software developer. But if you force it into an environment where it has to, it has to interface with certain interfaces that force it to abide by these protocols, well, now you can use raw AI to actually build something. At least that's the theory. Well, not just build it, but assimilate things. You could assimilate a project and then maintain it and improve it. It's not just about building stuff from scratch, although that is, software is never, any piece of software is never like finished, at least not nowadays. It's always being added to and updated, improved, maintained. But I'm just trying to, okay, the whole voice thing with Picard is like, that's like one of the first things I tried to get working. But, I realized after a couple of, this is like the second iteration of the holodeck built from scratch. There's things you have to get set up correctly first. Like, if you're trying to build a system that can build itself and maintain itself and then also build other systems, well, the first thing you have to do is make sure, well, the goal is, okay, I want it to loop, right? I want it to sort of be automated so I don't have to stand over its shoulder all the time. Right? Well, yeah, I want to set that up as soon as possible so I can say, do this stuff and walk away and have it get built. But the problem with that is that's not the right priority. That should come after setting up a bunch of guardrails and stuff. Like, okay, yeah, we can loop on building code, but it has to be clean code. It has to be reviewed code. It has to first be modeled with a bunch of diagrams. And the code has to mirror to the diagrams exactly. Otherwise, yeah, you can set up a loop, but the loop is going to run off the rails because the loop can edit itself. So it might work at first, but since you allow it to edit itself, it's going to become who knows what if you don't have the proper guardrails in place. So you start with the guardrails, then you look at autonomy, and now you can have a loop that strengthens itself, that you can walk away from without worrying about it flying off the rails. And then once that's done, you can add all the nice stuff you want to have, like a voice, Captain Picard voice over Discord interface. which is what I'm working on now. But originally that was like the first thing I wanted, because that's why it's called the holodeck, because I just wanted to I wanted to just be able to talk to AI through a voice protocol. That was the first thing that I wanted. And I wanted the AI to sound like Captain Picard or Lieutenant Commander Data. Instead of like, hello, I am a robot. Or just the generic, like, you know, random British voice. Holding steady for you, Jared. Quick status. Okay, Picard, listen.
Listening.
It's still nothing. I'm still just, when I say Picard, listen, it's still just like a...
Listening.
Every time I say it, I hear the voice activate, but I don't hear him say anything. So yeah, the holodeck. One of the main things the holodeck will do is assimilate other projects. So there's going to be a whole onboarding procedure that happens.
Listening.
Like you might say, all right, we've got a new project in for our firm. Let's assign it a new project manager. How about Jordy? And then the first thing it's going to do is look at all the code, and it's going to analyze it. But not just for clean code, like not just for SonarQube and like error handling and automated tests and, you know, just complexity or whatever. You know, I'm coming up with my own.
I am sorry, Jared. Something went wrong on my side. Please ask me again.
I'm coming up with my own metrics. Like that the holodeck is going to measure in addition to the normal stuff. Like one metric I call AI usability, because, you know, oh, hey, Dad. Yeah, I can hear him. I can hear Picard. I'm just trying to get... I'm trying to get the specific, like, acknowledgement to sound correct. So I've got, like, another AI trying to fix that AI. But anyway, you know, I've got these other metrics. Like AI usability is a big thing. Like how usable by AI is your software? That's something that you're always going to want to have for every piece of software there is like, can I tell an AI agent to go and use it the way a user would, except with all the powers of AI? It's funny, if I use the chat, It thinks you're the one talking. Oh yeah, it's overhearing. It thinks you're the one, or it's overhearing my voice. That happens to me a lot when I try to use my voice stuff. I think I'm getting up around the same time you are. I've been getting up at 4 a.m. So 5 a.m. your time. I figured out if I come in here and walk at 2.5 miles an hour, I can walk 10 miles before 9 a.m. if I'm here at 5 a.m. Walk 10 miles every day. Trying to lose weight without starving myself. I think the last couple times I fasted for long periods of time, I probably lost a lot of muscle and probably lost some brain cells. Everything's ready, autonomous parked. But yeah, I was just going to finish talking about the. I know you're probably not interested in this, Dad, but just for the eternal record of YouTube, the first metric was AI usability. The second, which is extremely useful for testing, first of all. But you might also want to have like a bunch of power users for your app. Second thing is kind of like how well documented it is. So documented in terms of diagrams, like schematics. You know, you would never, in a first world country, you could never build something without a blueprint, right? Like you could never get like approved for building something. They'd be like, okay, let me see the blueprints. And you were like, well, I don't have a blueprint. They'd be like, well, you can't build a fucking skyscraper, you know, because it's going to collapse and everyone's going to die. So one of the metrics that the holodeck enforces, or it's gonna be a measurable thing that it can gauge, is how well documented your system is in terms of diagrams and mind maps, transferring to actual UML diagrams. Because I think that's super important for AI to have. Because it's a source of truth. And it allows it to view the whole system at a glance, which is something it can't do just by looking at the code. You know, a developer will, working on a piece of software for years and years and years, will create a mental model in his head. And so he'll have the full picture when he's assigned a task, you know, for example. But AI will not have that full picture. It will only have the task, and it won't understand how this little thing that you want to change fits into the bigger picture, unless you force it to start any changes with the mind map. you force it, you go, okay, you want this new thing, this new task description with these requirements? Great. First thing we're going to do is look at the mind map and add to it. And if there's any gaps, if there's any logic gaps in your new addition, that's going to get reviewed by another AI, which, by the way, is something the holodeck does automatically. It forces any updates to get reviewed by a second AI. And then, a third AI down the road. It's like multiple reviews for any changes, which is something you don't get out of the box by just prompting AI. And I know, because I spent months trying to build a card game with AI. And it came out pretty good, but it was too difficult. It was way easier than doing myself. Doing it myself would have been, like a year ago, a couple of years ago. But I learned, like, hey, I'm having to do stuff over and over and over again that AI should already have locked in, So that leads to the holodeck, building the holodeck. And I would imagine that a company like AI, Elon Musk's macro hard company, they've got to be building something. They've got to already have systems like this, that actually make your AI build good software the way a team of human developers would do it if you gave them ears.
I am sorry, Jared. Something went wrong on my side. Please ask me again.
So I don't think that I'm building something that is going to be unique. I think I'm just building something that maybe the public won't get access to for a while. Because I think the next big thing that's going to come out from these AI companies, right now you have your web apps and your mobile apps that allow you to carry on conversations, prompt AI, have it build stuff on your computer, Claude Code CLI program, which is pretty great. But it has all the problems I've been rambling about. I think the next thing that those guys are going to come out with, and probably sooner than I actually finish this, so it'll just be a big waste of time. The next thing that they're going to come out with is something that does all this stuff automatically. Maybe. The thing is, though, like, I have to hook up like my credentials to Jira and Bitbucket. I have to sign into Git, Bitbucket. I have to hook it up to Discord. It's got some nice features, like the voice thing has to run on a system that has a good GPU, like my desktop. That's going to be, if they made it available for something like that, available for the public, it would still be really expensive. But Elon Musk is putting data centers in space, which would really reduce the cost of AI, because it'll get all that energy from the sun. But I think the next thing they're going to come out with, and it'll be as groundbreaking and as mind-blowing and as revolutionary as the actual ChatGPT originally was, it'll be like, hey, this thing, all it does is it hooks up to your software and it purifies it. It takes whatever you give it and makes a perfect version of it that works better than you had ever you know, thought it would. And you'll be able to keep changing it. It's going to assimilate. It's going to be like a service that assimilates software and also that builds it perfectly. It's just going to be like a massive improvement from what currently exists.
I am sorry, Jared. Something went wrong on my side. Please ask me again.
I would imagine that's the next big thing that they're going to release. Now, might that destroy the entire software developer industry? Yeah. Might that factor into their considerations about releasing that kind of thing? Probably not. So they didn't worry about ChatGPT. But it would also, yeah, it might retire software developers from their current positions. But it would, theoretically, it would make the entire world just work better. Every piece of software in existence would be more secure. It would be easier to modify. It would be, easier for AI to look at and use. Or it might actually be less secure if AI, some random tech company's AI, like, was given access to everybody's software. And not just access to read it, but to instantly read it, understand it, and change it. So, it could be a big waste of time what I'm doing, because something better is going to come out before I even get close to making this work. But maybe not. Maybe it doesn't come out for years. It's just the thing. It's not like a normal like innovation, because you reach a critical mass. At least that's what it seems like. Once you reach a critical mass, it's exponential growth, exponential improvement. And I'm not going to get there before macro hard, That's ridiculous. But I don't know. It might. Companies that are actually trying to like sell stuff to people, like a product, there's all these legal concerns. But if you're building your own custom software that you use as a private firm, well, it doesn't have to like be like a legal thing. For example, the Star Trek voices, like I can use that stuff privately on my custom software because I'm not selling it. If I was selling something like that, like, hey, listen to frickin' Brent Spiner and Sir Patrick Stewart as your AI voices, I would get sued. That's probably just one example of the things, the concerns that you might have if you're trying to make a product, something that you sell on a market, as opposed to something that you just use privately. like custom software. So even if they do come out with like this great new shit, it's probably still preferable to have your own system that you can modify and tweak and stuff. But, you know, at the end of the day, it's not that important to be the first person to market something and to make all the cash, you know? Like, who cares? It might seem like a matter of life and death, but this is the more important stuff. This is just something to keep me busy. The thing, money can't, there's a lot of things that money cannot buy. No matter how much money you make, no matter how successful you are, there's some things that you just can't buy. You got to get it some other way that maybe nobody knows, nobody can teach you how to do in our society. Something that you can't, that AI can't tell you how to do. AI, how do I have peace of mind? See, I got all this money, but I'm still afraid deep down. Well, I don't know, maybe you take some drugs. That's probably what it would say. Voice stack is clean and both fixes are deployed. Waiting on your test. Say, Picard, listen.
Listening.
Still doing it. I really wish the computer was like right over here. It's still doing it. It's still doing it. It's still clipping. I don't hear him say the words listening at all. All right, I'm going to start reading. It's been 45 minutes. At least get book 2 done. Book 2. Object of these confessions. Further ills of idleness developed in his 16th year. Evils of ill society, which betrayed him into theft. Actually, you know what? I'm just going to get Picard. I'm just going to get this guy working on. Hey, let's forget about the voice thing for now. We'll iron out the kinks later. You said you had some leftover tasks that you needed my input on from last night. And then you said there was 9 epics still waiting to be completely refined. Let's talk about that stuff, or at least a few of the epics, so that we can get the headless version of the holodeck looping again. Yeah, I just want to get my system building itself. And the reason I don't feel like I'm just talking into a void and being hypnotized by a, Python is because I have actually built, like my Conan CCG game. I built that out almost to completion using AI. So I know it works. It works well. So a lot of times you can't, when you're dealing with something new like this, some new intelligence, and you're feeding it all this energy in exchange for something, when you don't ever actually ship anything, you start to wonder, what's going on? Is this some kind of trick? But I can guarantee you that it ships code. It ships a playable game. So that's kind of like what inspired me to, like, once you have that experience, seeing is believing. That's what inspired me to build all of these systems and stuff around the use of AI. The 7 approved epics are essentially shipped. They're all done / released. The only live work is one queued task. Okay, so all 9 are bare, title description only, no design doc. Okay, that's not too bad. As long as there's a description. Apparently I have like 9 epics in the backlog that are just titles and descriptions. So I'm going to get them, just ideas I came up with, features I wanted, whatever. It's going to print a list for me. And we'll refine some of it, get it working. Everything checks out. Yeah, just give me the list of unrefined epics and maybe a little bit of their descriptions. I'll read through it. You can give me your opinion as well on what we should do next, if any of them should be consolidated or canceled. And then also, like, hey, is there anything that you would add to the list? Which epic should I refine first? Okay, you just output it as like a prompt for me, and there's only listing 4. But go ahead and think about this prompt I'm about to give you here. I was about to say, is there anything else that you would add to the list as a new epic that isn't there already, considering all the work you've been doing recently? Yeah, people start to show up around like 7:30. Maintenance guys and stuff. Like the broom closets back there, so the janitory staff will. Somebody trashed the bathroom yesterday, like early morning yesterday, probably. Left a bunch of trash, spilled soda, took a massive shit in the toilet, didn't flush. Probably, yeah, it's probably just like some kids that were drinking or something. But I don't know. I hope they check the security cameras. It could have been people that were like moving out or something. They're like, we're gonna trash this place. Trash the fucking bathroom before we leave. Here's the full list. All 9 readable with my take at the end. Engine-driven direct dispatch. Take the Claude brain out of the dispatch critical path. I thought we already did that. Ironclad process gate. Live pipeline observability. Loop self-watching. Loop merge blocked recovery. Desktop UI rewrite token spin pacing. HD voice text divergence. For one bug. Consolidate 8 and 9. Cancel 6. Sequence guardrails first, which your own stated order. What I'd add as a new ethic, voice egress reliability. One thing I would not add as new, but expand. So loop is healthy. You know what? I agree with everything you just said. Go ahead and do it all. See, that's the thing. It's like, you ask it to do something, doesn't really do it. You check. It's like, oh yeah, we still got all this stuff. I didn't really like look at it too well. It seems like it just really, it seems like you actually contribute a lot to the process with AI, just by like holding its hand, you know? It's really like, I said it before, it's like Rain Man. It's like Dustin Hoffman and you're Tom Cruise, you know? Like it can do this incredible shit. But all you have to do is take it to the casino and be like, okay, Claude, now let's sit down over here. Oh, you want to do a bunch of perfect bets? Okay, yeah, do it. Oh, hey, look, all right, now let's go over here. It's literally, it won't do all this shit unless you're there just kind of cheering it on. I mean, I do contribute some things. Like sometimes I'll go like, hey, this is the totally wrong idea. This is not what we decided. And it'll go, oh yeah, you're right. But most of what I do with AI is just like, tell it to keep going. It seems like. All right, so it's doing some good stuff now. Book 2. Book 2, object of these confessions. Further ills of idleness, developed in his 16th year. Let me see if I can get a little bit of music going in my ears. Let's try this one. Desert Excursion. Fantasy, exploration music. That's stuff I like. Just gonna have to turn it down in OBS. It's not too crazy loud. Check, mic check. I think that should be good, right? Objects. Let's set this to loop. I will now call to mind my past foulness and the carnal corruptions of my soul. Uh-oh, he's in puberty. Not because I love them, but that I may love thee, O my God. For my love of thy love, for love of thy love, I do it. Reviewing my most wicked ways, in the very bitterness of my remembrance, that thou mayest grow sweet unto me, thou sweetness never failing, thou blissful and assured sweetness, and gathering me again of that my dissipation, gathering me again out of that my dissipation, wherein I was torn piecemeal. While turned from thee, the one good, I lost myself among a multiplicity of things. For I even burnt in my youth, heretofore, to be satiated in things below. And I dared to grow wild again with these various and shadowy loves. My beauty consumed away, and I stank in thine eyes, pleasing myself, and desirous to please the eyes of men. And what was it that I delighted in but to love and be beloved? But I kept not the measure of love, of mind to mind, friendship's bright boundary, but out of the muddy concupiscence of the flesh, and the bubblings of youth. And the bubblings of youth mists fumed up which beclouded and overcast my heart, that I could not discern the clear brightness of love from the fog of lustfulness. Both did confusedly boil in me, and hurried my unstayed youth over the precipice of unholy desires, and sunk me in a gulf of flagitiousnesses, Thy wrath had gathered over me, and I knew it not. I was grown deaf by the clinking of the chain of my mortality, the punishment of the pride of my soul, and I strayed further from thee. And thou lettest me alone, and I was tossed about, and wasted, and dissipated, and I boiled over in my fornications, and thou heldest thy peace. O thou, my tardy joy, thou then heldest thy peace, and I wandered further, and further from thee, into more and more fruitless seed plots of sorrow, with a proud dejectedness and a restless weariness. Oh, that someone had then attempted my disorder, and turned to account the fleeting beauties of these, the extreme points of thy creation, had put a bound to their pleasurableness, that so the tides of my youth might have cast them upon the marriage shore, if they could not be calmed, and kept within the object of a family, as thy law prescribes, O Lord, who this way formest the offspring of this our death, being able with a gentle hand to blunt the thorns which were excluded from thy paradise. For thy omnipotency is not far from us, even when we be far from thee. Else ought I more watchfully to have heeded the voice from the clouds. Nevertheless, such shall have trouble in the flesh, but I spare you. And it is good for a man not to touch a woman. And he that is unmarried thinketh of the things of the Lord, how he may please the Lord. But he that is married careth for the things of this world, how he may please his wife. To these words I should have listened more attentively, and being severed, for the kingdom of heaven's sake, had more happily awaited thy embraces. But I, poor wretch, foamed like a troubled sea, following the rushing of my own tide, forsaking thee and seeking all thy limits, that I escaped not thy scourges. Seems like I keep hearing stuff over there. I escaped not thy scourges. For what mortal can? For thou wert ever with me mercifully, rigorous, and besprinkling with most bitter alloy all my unlawful pleasures, and that I might seek pleasures without alloy. Alloy? But where to find such I could not discover, save in thee, O Lord, who teachest by sorrow, and wounded us to heal, and killest us, lest we die from thee. Where was I, and how far was I exiled from the delights of thy house, in that 16th year of the age of my flesh, when the madness of lust, to which human shamelessness giveth free license, though unlicensed by thy laws, took the rule over me, and I resigned myself wholly to it. My friends, meanwhile, took no care by marriage to save my fall. Their only care was that I should learn to speak excellently and be a persuasive orator. For that year were my studies intermitted, whilst after my return see what it's doing over here. All 5 actions are done and the loop is healthy and churning. Summary of where things stand. Engine-driven direct dispatch. Loop hardened first. Backlog cleaned up. I'll check back in 15 minutes to catch the fun. Keep feeding the queue. I'll only ping you when engine-driven direct dispatch is ready for you, for your approval. Something genuinely needs. Okay. Looks like it's working. It's working! Chapter 3. For that year were my studies intermitted, whilst after my return from Madura, near a neighbor city, whither I had journeyed to learn grammar and rhetoric, the expenses for a further journey to Carthage were being provided for me, and that rather by the resolution than by means of my father, who was but a poor freeman of Thagaste. To whom tell I this? Not to thee, my God, but before thee to mine own kind, even to that small portion of mankind as may light upon these writings of mine. And to what purpose? That whatsoever reads this may think out of what depths we are to cry unto thee. For what is nearer to thine ears than a confessing heart in a life of faith, who did not extol my father for that, beyond the ability of his means, he would furnish his son with all the necessaries for a faraway journey, for a far journey for his studies' sake. For many far abler citizens did no such thing for their children. But yet this same father had no concern how I grew towards thee, or how chaste I were, so that I were but copious in speech. However barren I were to thy culture, O God, who art the only true and good Lord of thy field, my heart. But while in that my 16th year I lived with my parents, leaving all school for a while, a season of idleness being interposed through the narrowness of my parents' fortunes, the briars of unclean desires grew rank over my head, and there was no hand to root them out. When that my father saw me at the baths, now growing toward manhood, and endured with a restless youthfulness, he, as already hence anticipating his descendants, gladly told it to my mother, rejoicing in that tumult of the senses wherein the world forgetteth thee its creator, and becometh enamored of thy creature instead of thyself, through the fumes of that invisible wine of its self-will, turning aside and bowing down to the very basest things. But in my mother's breast thou hast already begun thy temple and the foundation of thy holy habitation, whereas my father was as yet but a catechumen, and that but recently. She then was startled with an holy fear and trembling, and though I was not yet baptized, and try to feared for me those crooked ways in which they walk who turn their back to thee, and not their face. Woe is me, and dare I say that thou heldest thy peace, O my God, while I wandered further from thee. Didst thou then indeed hold thy peace to me? And whose but thine were these words which by my mother, thy faithful one, thou singest in my ears? Nothing whereof sunk into my heart.
I am sorry, Jared. Something went wrong on my side. Please ask me again.
Picard dismissed doesn't work anymore. Thy faithful one thou sangest in my ears, nothing whereof sunk into my heart, so as to do it. For she wished, and I remember in private with great anxiety warned me not to commit fornication, but especially never to defile another's wife. These seemed to me womanish advices, which I should blush to obey. But they were thine, and I knew it not, and I thought thou wert silent, and that it was she who spoke, by whom thou were not silent unto me, and in her wast despised by me, her son, the son of thy handmaid, thy servant. But I knew it not, and ran headlong with such blindness that amongst my equals I was ashamed of a less shamelessness when I heard them boast of their flagitiousness. Yea, and the more boasting, the more they were degraded. And I took pleasure, not only in the pleasure of the deed, but in the praise. What is worthy of dispraise but vice? But I made myself worse than I was, that I might not be dispraised. And when in anything I had not sinned as the abandoned ones, I would say that I had done what I had not done, that I might not seem contemptible in proportion as I was innocent, or of less account, the more chaste. Behold, with what companions I walked the streets of Babylon, and wallowed in the mire thereof, as if in a bed of spices and precious ointments, and that I might cleave the faster to its very center, the invisible enemy trod me down and seduced me, for that I was easy to be seduced. Neither did the mother of my flesh, who had now fled out of the center of Babylon, yet went more slowly in the skirts thereof, as she advised me to chastity, so heed what she had heard of me from her husband, as to restrain within the bounds of conjugal affection, if it could not be pared away to the quick. What she felt to be the pestilent at present, and for the future dangerous, she heeded not this, for she feared lest a wife should prove a clog and hindrance to my hopes. Not those hopes of the world to come which my mother reposed in thee, but the hope of learning, which both my parents were too desirous I should attain. My father, because he had next to no thought of thee, and of me but vain conceits. My mother, because she accounted that these usual courses of learning would not only be no hindrance, but even some furtherance towards attaining thee. For this I conjecture, recalling as well as I may the disposition of my parents, the reins, meantime, were shackled to me. Beyond all temper of due severity, to spend my time in sport. Yea, ah! No. I meant to put a better fucking mount on this camera this morning. One that would fit this little perch up here. Try it again. Problem is it rumbles when I walk. I think that'll stay. Going to page 10. Man. I don't know, this glasses, maybe I need like prescription glasses. Too desirous I should attain. My father, because he had next to no thought of thee and of me, but vain conceits. My mother, because she accounted that those usual courses of learning would not only be no hindrance, but even some furtherance towards attaining thee. For this I conjecture, recalling as well as I may the disposition of my parents, the reins meantime were slackened to me, beyond all temper of due severity, to spend my time in sport, yea, even unto dissoluteness. And whatsoever I affected. And in all was a mist, intercepting from me, O my God, the brightness of thy truth. And mine iniquity burst out, as from very fatness. Theft is punished by thy law, O Lord, and the law written in the hearts of men, which iniquity itself effaces not. For what thief will abide a thief? Not even a rich thief, one stealing through want. Yet I lusted to thieve, and did it, compelled by no hunger, nor poverty, but through a cloyedness of well-doing, and a pamperedness of iniquity. For I stole that of which I had enough, and much better. Not cared I to enjoy what I stole, but joyed in the theft and sin itself. A pear tree there was near our vineyard, laden with fruit, tempting neither for color nor taste. To shake and rob this, some lewd young fellows of us went, late one night, having according to our pestilent custom prolonged our sport in the streets till then, and took huge loads, not for our eating, but to fling to the very hogs, having only tasted them. And this but to do what we liked only because it was misliked. Behold my heart, O God, behold my heart, which thou hadst pity upon, in the bottom of the bottomless pit. Now, behold, let my heart tell thee what it sought there, that I should be gratuitously evil, having no temptation to ill, but the ill itself. It was foul, and I loved it. I loved to perish. I loved mine own fault. Not that for what I was faulty, but my fault itself. Foul soul, falling from thy firmament to utter destruction, not seeking aught through the shame, but the shame itself. Nothing needs you yet. This was a normal design iteration, not a blocker or self-pacing. Design work and completion is the event I'm watching. I'll check in 15 minutes. If it clears the lint, it goes to design pending approval. Surface it for your approval. It trips the same lint again. Treat that as a pattern and dig. Hey, so I don't think you should be looking to me for approval on anything once it's been initiated. just if I ask you to add an epic to the auto dispatch queue, take that as being my approval, even if the epic is nothing but a title and a description. Because that should be how the system works. Seeking out through the shame, but the shame itself. For theirs in attractiveness, in beautiful bodies, in gold and silver, and all things, and in bodily touch. Sympathy hath much influence, and each other sense hath his proper object answerably tempered. Worldly honor hath also its grace, and the power of overcoming and of mastery, whence springs also the thirst of revenge. But yet, to obtain all these, we may not depart from thee, O Lord, nor decline from thy law. The life also which here we live hath its own enchantment, through a certain proportion of its own, and a correspondence with all things beautiful here below. Human friendship also is endeared with a sweet tie, by reason of the unity formed of many souls, upon occasion of all these, and the like is sin committed, while through an immoderate inclination towards these goods, of the lowest order, the better and higher are forsaken. Thou, our Lord God, thy truth and thy law, for these lower things have their delights, but not like my God, who made all things, for in him doth the righteous delight, and he is the joy of the upright in heart. That's a meaningful change down the loop should run, and it's the right model. Adding an epic to the queue is the approval, and the system should carry it from title description all the way through design. Build without bouncing back to you. That's the hands-off, self-driving behavior we've been building toward. Let me reflect it back precisely and write it in. I love how much AI kisses your ass all the time. Adding and queuing an epic equals your approval, even if it's just a title description. Once initiated, I don't serve to God. I only come here for genuine escalations, money, hard blocker, or guardrails catastrophe. Let me find the design approval mechanism so I can self-approve rather than part. Yeah, do it. Do it. He is the joy of the upright in heart. When then we ask why a crime was done, we believe it not, unless it appear that there might have been some desire of obtaining some of those which we called lower goods, or a fear of losing them, for they are beautiful and comely, although compared with those higher and beatific goods, they be abject and low. A man hath murdered another. Why? He loved his wife or his estate, or would rob for his own livelihood, or feared to lose some such thing by him, or wronged, was on fire to be revenged. Would any commit murder upon no cause, delighted simply in murdering? Who would believe it? Whereas, for that furious and savage man, of whom it is said that he was gratuitously evil and cruel, yet is the cause assigned, lest, saith he, through idleness, hand or heart should grow inactive. And to what end? that through that practice of guilt, he might, having taken the city, attain to honors, empire, riches, and be freed from the fear of the laws, and his embarrassments from domestic needs, and consciousness of villainies. So then, not even Castelline himself loved his own villainies, but something else for whose sake he did them. Starting to get light out. What then did wretch I so love in thee, thou theft of mine, thou deed of darkness, in that 16th year of my age? Lovely, thou wert not, because thou wert theft. But art thou anything that thus I speak to thee? Fair were the pears we stole, because they were thy creation. Thou fairest of all, creator of all, thou good God, God the sovereign good, and my true good. Fair were those pears, but not them did my wretched soul desire, for I had store of better, and those I gathered only that I might steal. For, when gathered, I flung them away, my only feast, therein being my own sin, which I was pleased to enjoy. For if aught of those pears came within my mouth, what sweetened it was the sin. And now, O Lord my God, I inquire, what in that theft delighted me? And behold, it hath no loveliness. I mean, not much loveliness, as in justice and wisdom, nor as such as in the mind and memory and senses and animal life of man, nor yet as the stars are glorious and beautiful in their orbs, or the earth or sea full of embryo life, replacing by its birth that which decayeth. Nay, nor even that false and shadowy beauty which belongeth to deceiving vices. For so doth pride imitate exaltedness, whereas thou alone art God exalted over all. Ambition, what seeks it but honors and glory, whereas thou alone art to be honored above all, and glorious for evermore. The cruelty of the great would fain be feared, but who is to be feared but God alone? Out of whose power what can be wrested or withdrawn? When or where or whither or by whom? The tenderness of the wanton would fain be counted love, yet is nothing more tender than thy charity, nor is aught loved more healthfully than thy truth, bright and beautiful above all. Curiosity makes semblance of a desire of knowledge, whereas thou supremely knowest all. Yea, ignorance and foolishness itself is cloaked under the name of simplicity and uninjuriousness, because nothing is found more single than thee. And what less injurious, since they are his own works, which injure the sinner. Yea, sloth would fain be at rest, but what stable rest besides the Lord? Luxury affects to be called plenty and abundance, but thou art the fullness and never failing plenteousness of incorruptible pleasures. Prodigality presents a shadow of liberality, but thou art the most overflowing giver of all good. Covetousness would possess many things, and thou possessest all things. Envy disputes for excellency. What more excellent than thou? Anger seeks revenge. Who revenges more justly than thou? Fear startles at things unwanted and sudden, which endanger things beloved, and takes forethought for their safety. But to thee, what unwanted or sudden, or who spareth from thee what thou lovest? Or where but with thee is unshaken safety? Grief pines away for things lost, the delight of its desires, because it would have nothing taken from it, as nothing can from thee. Thus doth the soul commit fornication when she turns from thee, seeking without thee what she findeth not pure and untainted, till she returns to thee. Thus all pervertedly imitate thee, who remove from thee and lift themselves up against thee. But even by thus imitating thee, they imply thee to be the creator of all nature, whence there is no place whither altogether to retire from thee. What then did I love in that theft? And wherein did I even corruptedly and pervertedly imitate my Lord? Did I wish, even by stealth, to do contrary, that being a prisoner, to do contrary to thy law, because by power I could not, so that being a prisoner, I might mimic a maimed liberty by doing with impunity things unpermitted me, a darkened likeness of thy omnipotency? Behold thy servant fleeing from his Lord and obtaining a shadow. O rottenness, O monstrousness of life, and depth of death! Could I like what I might not, only because I might not? A few minutes ago, loop healthy and full, 3 tasks moving, locked in your directive, queuing an epic, equals your approval, full stop. I won't bounce design gates back to you anymore. I auto approve and drive through. And only surface for money and hard blocker. So yeah, if you recall, we talked about having some kind of dial, right? Some kind of adjustable setting for how involved in the design process for an epic the user should be. Remember that? That was going to be a setting that we would have. And that would allow you to determine how many things you should get my feedback on before saying it's all done. So we still want to have that, I think, because a lot of times there will be epics where I will want to be heavily involved. You know, if it is a sort of a complex or a subtle thing, you know. But I think for now, by default, I want the default to be completely hands off. Dang, I can't believe I messed up my left knee. That sucks. Maybe I don't deserve to go play tennis anymore until I'm at an appropriate weight. Just staying here and march uphill on a treadmill until I'm not super overweight to where I'm gonna hurt my joints, my ligaments, pull muscle. Those are injuries that last for a long ass time when you're my age. So behold thy servant fleeing from his Lord and obtaining a shadow. O rottenness, O monstrousness of life, and depth of death. You can tell this guy was a poet and a rhetorician and a lawyer. Could I like what I might not, only because I might not? What shall I render unto the Lord, that whilst my memory recalls these things, my soul is not affrighted at them? I will love thee, O Lord, and thank thee, and confess unto thy name, because thou hast forgiven me these so great and heinous deeds of mine. To thy grace I ascribe it, and to thy mercy, that to thy grace, that to thy mercy, that thou hast melted away my sins as if it were ice. To thy grace I ascribe also whatsoever I have not done of evil. For what might I not have done, who even loved a sin for its own sake? Yes, all I confess to have been forgiven me, both what evils I committed by my own willfulness, and what by thy guidance I committed not. What man is he who, weighing his own infirmity, dares to ascribe his purity and innocency to his own strength, that so he should love thee the less, as if he had less needed thy mercy, whereby thou remittest sins to those that turn to thee? For whosoever called by thee followed thy voice and avoided those things which he reads, me recalling and confessing of myself, let him not scorn me, who being sick was cured by that physician.
Correcting course. Dispatch in this system goes through the HABG roll, text, marker protocols, parsed by the engine, not the CLI's own.
Who being sick was cured by that physician, through whose aid it was that he was not, or rather was less sick. And for this, let him love thee as much, yea, and more, since by whom he sees me to have been recovered from such deep consumption of sin. By him he sees himself to have been from the like consumption of sin preserved. What fruit had I then, wretched man, in those things of the remembrance whereof I am now ashamed, especially in that theft which I loved for the theft's sake? And it, too, was nothing, and therefore the more miserable I, who loved it. Yet alone I had not done it. Such was I then, I remember. Alone I had never done it. I remember then alone I had never done it. I loved then in it only also the company of the accomplices with whom I did it. I did not then love nothing else but the theft. Yea, rather I did love nothing else. For that circumstance of the company was also nothing. What is, in truth, who can teach me, save he that enlighteneth my heart and discovereth its dark corners? What is it which hath come into my mind to inquire and discuss and consider? For had I then loved the pears I stole and wished to enjoy them, I might have done it alone. But I might have done it alone, had the bare commission of the theft sufficed to attain my pleasure. Nor needed I have inflamed the itching of my desires by the excitement of accomplices. But since my pleasure was not in those pears, it was in the offense itself, which the company of fellow sinners occasioned. What then was this feeling? For of a truth it was too foul, and woe was me who had it. But yet, what was it? Who can understand his errors? It was the sport, which, as it were, tickled our hearts, that we beguiled those who little thought what we were doing, and much misliked it. Why then was my... And yeah, it is a pain in the ass when teenagers screw with your shit. Like, I was in Phoenix and somebody stole my fucking tank bag off my motorcycle. You know, when I was traveling around the country. Like, nothing in there that they would need, but important stuff to me, really inconvenienced me. I mean, I shouldn't have left it there unlocked. I was just used to going around the country where there was regular people who don't steal shit. But I'm pretty sure that when I was walking back to my motorcycle, I saw some, you know, college kid smirking or laughing at me being like, oh fuck, somebody stole my tank bag. And I imagine in my head, I should have grabbed that guy and beat the shit out of him. Been like, hey, where's my tank bag? Yeah, I don't even live here, so good luck finding me. You know, which is a sin in itself. Obviously, I didn't do that. I just said, oh, I got by some stupid teenagers. But, you know, it is, you do have to think about, yeah, it's not just kids being kids. It is like something about the human nature that wants to see other people like beguiled by your actions. Which, by the way, I think is something like, that's why people kind of worry about someone who doesn't seem to live anywhere. It's like, oh shit, this guy doesn't really have any like collateral in this society. The excitement What then was this feeling? For of a truth it was too foul, and woe was me who had it. But yet, what was it? Who can understand his errors? It was the sport, which as it were tickled our hearts, that we beguiled. And also, what if it wasn't the guy who stole the tank bag, right? It was the sport, which as it were tickled our hearts, that we beguiled those who little thought what we were doing, and much misliked it. Why then was my delight of such sort, that I did it not alone? Because none doth ordinarily laugh alone. Ordinarily, no one. Yet laughter sometimes masters men alone, and singly, when no one whatever is with them. If anything very ludicrous presents itself to their senses or mind. Yet I had not done this alone. Also, I had never done it. Alone, I had never done it. Yet I had not done this alone. Alone, I had never done it. Behold, my God, before thee, the vivid remembrance of my soul. Alone, I had never committed that theft, wherein what I stole pleased me not, but that I stole, nor had it alone liked me to do it, nor had I done it. O friendship too unfriendly, thou incomprehensible invigilator of the soul, thou greediness to do mischief out of mirth and wantonness, thou thirst of others' loss, without lust of my own gain. Thirst of others' loss, without lust of my own gain or revenge. But when it is said, let's go, let's do it, we are ashamed not to be shameless. Who can disentangle that twisted and intricate naughtiness? Foul is it. I hate to think on it, to look on it. But thee I long for, O righteousness and innocency, beautiful and comely to all pure eyes, and of a satisfaction unsating. With thee it rests entire, and life imperturbable. Whoso enters into thee enters into the joy of his Lord, and shall not fear, and shall do excellently in the all excellent. I sank away from thee, and I wondered, O my God, too much astray from thee my stay in these days of my youth, and I became to myself a barren land. All right, that's book 2. Book 3 is next. Page 13. And I am 4.65 miles into this walk. I think I'll take a little break from reading. Time is at 6:45. That's about right. We'll change the song here. See what Claude had to say about that last prompt. That's right. That's the right reconciliation. And it's an important one. The two ideas don't conflict, they compose. Let me reflect it back precisely. Well, I guess so. It's supposed to be like noise cancellation on this microphone, but I think it's probably still picking up the treadmill pretty good. I'm gonna go take a leak. Also, sometimes I'm cutting a lot, I just damn. I used to be poker watching children. But like, say emergency, I have lots of stuff to say about that. Like, I thought it was you can. When you're a kid playing games, it's like, oh, there's some character I can never do. It's just funny. But as you get older, it's like, you start sensing what the other people think is feeling. And it's all like hard and nasty stuff. That's why it's so frustrating.
It's not fun. It's picking up on yourself. But also, feeling like yourself. And then when I'm using it, it's trying to make it. That's pretty much the thing that's the feet. But, I keep myself. Spend all the time playing food. It's really what the main thing is about. Nobody cares about food. You gotta go out and earn and stuff. Nobody cares about people actually playing. And in tournament, you didn't even pay out the prize money. Because I could hack the money. Because that's how people talk about it. It's just things are coming to it. Can't even like just can't get any money. It's like, do I want to spend my time participating in the same activity as these people? I don't know. Not really. Even if I take the, even if I get really good at the game, I feel like I'm get like best thing which will still work in some participate. I feel like chess. I see people that rage out on chess. You would think that people playing chess would want but you know, we can play single games. And, I think that's a good use of the time. Last. I used to hit on stuff for the last. I noticed that I'm playing teammates. That is a team. And I'm with my teammates. Who are not. I felt like and he just wants to play the game. It's a lot easier for me to get problems and solve. Even if we're playing potentially like measure the people, there's an hierarchy that it's actually a lot easier to handle that. When I'm playing with balance. It's kind of like a key. I'm actually keying out the person on the right screen. We're just sitting here on this treadmill, like, doing something. I want to do. I feel like I want to do something while I'm walking along here. Yeah, all of it. I want to get those AR goggles, AR glasses. But I have that big screen. I wonder if I could just like control it, like on the screen. I don't know. Who knows, like, try to kill something. I feel like the readings. You probably focus your mind. Maybe I'll explain and see what I think. Oh, it's fast. He's got his whole that's what I'm trying to get. I'm trying to get this whole AI system up and running. So get different projects going at the same time. You know, you could come here walking along. I'll be talking to these different projects and just looking at ideas and stuff. Like, oh yeah, do this, do that, do this, do that. Yeah, what's on that? What's this look like? This system running tripping on my head. And I'm like, oh, look at that. This is something like cleaner. Really nice. Well, actually, we like talking. We like talking. On the way out. So. I don't think you can. I'm just trying to 4 hours at a time. Sports are different. Really shape actually, I haven't learned a little bit about how the real world actually works in terms of its physical laws and stuff. How the body works. Which is funny. not trying to put these people down, because they're one of them doesn't practice. Hey, if I get to do something that's important, as a skater, I'm the best in the world at this game, and you've got a career out of this company. That's what esports is. I guess maybe it is not the case for some people. Huge, more just in the world. You're the best in the world. Anything that's big. Basically, lots of things that are allergic. I watch a lot of Star Trek. But it goes back to maybe people who are all about chess are all about but still, we're still wagering on minor things. People who are all about golf, who are all about tennis, are still majoring on minor things. You might be an major thing unless you're looking a popular story that's but in terms of like the usefulness of being able to play a sport, that's a minor well, it's a minor everyone else. Aren't you good? It's not the rest most of your time. Like, I never thought Pilsner would be super good. People say, like, oh, do what you love. Yeah, do what you love, because that's what it's like. And they're really good at it. Yeah, really, probably true. But, you know, doing what you love is the responsibility. Not having what you need. But as opposed to virtual YouTube, like, I just think that it's tough. Tough being in situations where addicted to a video essentially. And it's not really taking over life. All of these things are big. A lot of people like that online. I mean, at least if you're like a rising stream. You're playing a bunch, maybe you're addicted to the video games in general. You're not addicted to one particular. And, you know, at least that allows people to also be highly entertained.
Compliments of the day to you, sir.
Which is being an entertainer. I would argue is not. That's a living. Well, one of the say that. You know, I'm associated with by observing it and reproducing my life. So, this is computing. Like there's this local ATX line, Austin, Texas, right? And they have this group called Bruce Society. They the car over. And I saw they were putting this thing in there, publish. Another few things on writing, not on TV. I was like, who's gonna read it? Who's gonna read it? Nobody. Who's gonna read it? He reads anymore. I mean, that's great. That's great. You guys are. That maybe for some people read it. Like, isn't that great? And then we're like, but, you know. I'm sure the guy that's running the club is making some hey. And you know, he's providing something useful for a lot of people running the club. So there's nobody's reading and doing this practice. They're just doing it for the sake of work. At a certain point, you make it seem like but if you're going to be a writer, at least make it involved. Write something that people want. And nobody reads anything that's not in this book. Not writing. This whole concept of that. You know. Get the writer. You know what this is about. Same thing with like a free write. Everybody that buys a free write. Oh, I'm writing so many words every day. Just avoiding things. Just keep writing. It's been 10,000 words a day. Oh, once I reach a certain word count, that's an achievement. And I've got a little 500,000 words. It's something for I think about 500,000 words. I think I cheated a little bit in that based on stuff. But we focus so much on maybe you should read more first. Maybe you should go have some life experiences first. But I don't think everybody else can become a good writer just by writing all this. You have to actually add something to write out.
Come on, there's still time before he gets back. Oh, you're no fun at all. Fine, have your stupid good deed then.
Many lovely things.
But it feels good.
Get your miscellaneous items here. I got you.
That's why I see if they're going to hire a sponsor.
But one day you too could be rich.
I'm just saying, they read stuff that people read in modern times. Like relatively modern times. But of course, it's not just a dip into reading what the guy is. That's kind of like a lot of content creators get people to watch their people is necessary. Not necessarily to get some person sleep. But you need to keep it some you are now to prepare. You want to get to the consumer what you're going to do. Yes, you know, technology really facilitates that kind screens, overwrites, audio, damage every place. When you see content creators like, I can't believe everyone's on their phones. Why don't they enjoy the movie? What's your content? Why don't you do it immediately? Content creators will feel like they're not for a living, but for an honest living. And the first one,
Looks all right. What's going on here?
good limestone in this book. These are in the house. Ancient King of two larger ship, built the Union, Johnson, to know the man, who's like later. The non-working receives the map, and rules. So, working that fleet from the winter. New trigger the physics. This is going to be something we're going to do. We're going to do what it's supposed to. Look at that. Design the very pretty house. It's named Big. And most of the panels built to shape this fixed to its own platform. And there's not much more to do. It's a lot of work. And you build in 10 minutes. They're even going to do this breakfast. Other food. And travel through their soil and this full of fun. No one's representing you with something genuinely needs to be said. Also, another thing about the mental model of it, everyone's actually listening to the third one. Happiness is a first. Otherwise, it will not be so. Big milestone. Let's take each reaction is lightly shaped. Thoughts, review, the works of man. Restart for what it is. The design work that you receives the nothing. Otherwise, so much children have kids on the page. And then people driven back to the slash. Retrigger. That's fantastic. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. Keep it up. That's fantastic. Related to the focus. Goals change. Indeed, perhaps all the body justice. System markets of social. That's how people nowadays. Sorry. Genuinely sorry. It's 7. I admit, you're better. You're better. But the technology is see, that's the argument. That makes sense. But I thought about that concept a lot. Sort of no. Doesn't. You know, I'm screaming right now. I mean, this case, though. Screaming, just the idea that feel much normal things. Maybe there was some
Snot bag, you know nothing of the world. What are a tossing up around? Might be young and strong now.
the internet, that's what people really talk about. So that's why it's suppressed funds, basically. It's unfortunate that the internet is these invited exactly free place in the United States. Free place. Some people on the North Korea internet is Americans in some things on X and going to technocrats and workers. I said, that's fantastic. And he said, yeah, it's the system doing exactly what it's for. It's going to call diagnose it, shit, but it's through its own pipeline, and went back to the block. The block works. I'll let it keep running, continue engine-driven direct dispatch tools. So if it needs you, it's fine. I really do think there's people that get attention they have no personal it's just because it's like they're from a different place. From a place where people are sort of consuming. That's not a highlight. Nobody else will have other kids going on. Have this other nice place. And it's fun. Interactive with people like, wow, this guy's cool. Oh, you like him? Okay. I think the feeling it's the same kind of thing that celebrities. Hey. But maybe that's I'm not saying career for this attention. Praise because of the sense of artificial praise of self-worth. So I'm going to have a talent, you know? Talent. Or beautiful, solid. But it becomes a danger because the use of it can get potential praise from people. And that sort of makes their persona. And their persona becomes something that people worship. So it's bad for both parties. It's not really like hey, I do like these challenges. Next challenge accepted. I know what your contests this week. I don't know if that comes. I don't know. We created an engine with social media. An engine that creates. People call it online communities. That's where they do it. These relationships are not always easy relationships. That humans have great numbers of communities. It's not limited to communities. Encourage opinions. And that's the engine. The engine for youth relations is for people that form those associations with them. Where you don't really care about it. It's not really feelings. And it replaces normal healthy teenagers with that. Like the guy, somebody else was in here going like this, they'd just be watching property on the phone. More might say, oh, that's just you. You're the loser. You're the sole loser. No, I'm just the only thing that's like one of the problems. Just the girls. Here. That's not a thing. That's what people say. Oh, see something. Oh, gee. Right, those are the things. Just one pair. Times. This is the way. If you ask me. I'm not saying that to you. What is it that what do you make this work? Take it up, expand this. H apartments, it's a lot. Oops. It's really difficult. It's almost a human experience. Why is it really good? Most for we have to destroy it. Entire house. Actually, I think. Isn't that some famous quote? Don't worry, everything's messed up. Peter Bongini, John. What I mean is that nothing ever happens the way it's supposed to. Everything is messed up. Everything is flawed. And if we didn't have imperfection, I'm not sure what we would have. That wasn't what I was thinking. That's well said. We didn't have imperfection. I'm not sure what we would have done. I really love it. Peter Bongini. Don't worry, everything's alright. Everything is not right. So, oh shit, the microphone's been down here the whole time. Check. I'm so retarded.
I'm so retarded. Okay, so you probably didn't hear anything I was saying that whole time. And that's probably for the best. All right, just one more hour, and I should be at 10 miles. Oh, a little over an hour. That's a pretty good morning walk. 10 miles. Isn't that about how far you have to walk on the PCH to do it in time before the season ends? 10 or 13 miles a day. This doesn't really matter if you're equipped. Take as long as you want. I kind of want to play the chess arena game that the Botez girls have been promoting, or I guess working on. They said they've been working on it for years, which is cool. And actually, that game's really interesting to me because for a while, a couple of years ago, probably around the same time they were coming up with the ideas, I was designing my own game. And I'm sure I've rambled about it on my streams before, but it would use a similar system. The way I was thinking of it was everybody would be on the same sort of universal tick. It would be like a real-time tactics game. But I called it like slow time strategy, because the idea is everything goes kind of slow. It's almost like a turn-based game. but it's simultaneous turn in real time. And that's basically, and you know, it's on like a grid, like a hex grid. And that's basically what they came up with the chess game. But they did it really well. And they came up with like good ideas. On top of that, like you level up your chess pieces and they move faster. They're still on a universal tick, but everybody's not on the same tick, which is never something I really considered. But it makes sense to do it that way. I don't know, it might make more sense to do it the way I had originally envisioned. But the game that this girl and whoever else made, it's like really close to what I was envisioning as a tactics game. Like you have your leader, you have your squad leader, and he is sort of like what creates your vision. And the other guys can only move so far away from him. Or if you move out of range, you can't control them. That's exactly what they did with the chess pieces. I had never considered making it a chess game where you're moving chess pieces around a big chessboard as a battle royale, but I was also thinking, you know, battle royale. So, but it just makes sense to make that kind of game. I think that this chess arena game is going to be the first of a new genre. People might expand on it and add some tactics style components. But I am a huge fan of the chess arena. You know, I was never really that into chess, but because of the aspects I just described, I am super impressed with that game. You know, a little bit jealous because maybe I thought it was my idea originally. See someone else do it better and with, you know, chess pieces. But I think a lot of times people tap into the same collective consciousness and think of things at the same time. But it's also like, it's also kind of a no-brainer, you know? Someone had to make that kind of game eventually. And they were smart to sort of try to be the first ones and make it a chess game. It's a great idea. So, I don't know, maybe I'll try to play it while I'm walking on the treadmill. That'd be fun if I could play it. The problem is you have to you have to have like a good mouse, you know, because it is like an RTS game with micro and stuff, but with chess pieces. So I can't be using my freaking one-handed Bluetooth, you know. Like that works for Blood Bowl, for example. One more hour. This is easy. I can do this all day. My legs are getting a little bit tired. And I've got this knee injury, but I don't really feel the knee injury when I'm just walking, which is good. It's really good. It's a good sign that it's not injured that bad. This microphone should last for 6 to 8 hours, so that's awesome. If I just remember to leave it on, I should have just wore it into the bathroom and let you hear me tinkle in the urinal. Forgot to put it back on. Not like anything useful was lost. It's me rambling to myself. Ah, the sun is rising. The sun is rising. At my coming, look to the east. At dawn, to the east. Eoden King stands alone. Not alone. Roll here on to the king. God, The Lord of the Rings is so good. Peter Jackson's The Lord of the Rings. Just a masterpiece. Me and my buddy Shane talk about this all the time. Lord of the Rings. It's perfect. And like, I realize that more as time goes on. People might be like, oh, well, you know, it's a really long story. Even in a 12-hour set of extended films, 3 extended films trilogy, it's hard to get everything in there. And that was my opinion for a while. But after reading the books again, or listening on audio recently, again, I'm just like, this is an inhumanly good masterclass on how to adapt books into movies. They'll never be repeated. It's done so well, I think. Not even repeated by Peter Jackson himself, as is evident. I actually liked the Hobbit movies a lot. Not a lot, but I do like them. A lot of CGI, but still. And you know, Martin Freeman, he's a good Bilbo, but I don't know, he's not the best. He was whatever his character name was. He was that character from The Office for too long. You know, that character is just so cynical. Or, you know, maybe not cynical, but everything's about irony with him. You know, whereas the Hobbits like Frodo and Sam, there's a sincerity to those characters that I think Martin Freeman struggles to portray. But he does look the part, that's for sure. Looks like a hobbit. I haven't read The Hobbit in a while. But I remember thinking it's a cool story. It's like a good self-contained story. Dragon on the mountain, dwarves go to the mountain, tons of gold, kills the dragon. Everybody wants the gold now that the dragon's dead. Huge battle ensues. That's a good plot in itself. It's like a good story. Creature golem, magic ring. Came to the creature golem, who took it deep into the misty mountains, and there it consumed him. It came to me. Delicious. I guess I could try to use my scroll thing to play the chess arena. I don't know if I have it installed on this. Chess Arena. It's on Steam. They have it on Steam now? Planned release date, okay. If they had it on Steam, I could maybe use a controller. Although a controller wouldn't work that well. I think what I need is the problem is it's designed to be a 40-player battle royale. But how many people are queuing up right now? Probably less than 40. And if there are 40 people in the game, there's definitely not another 40 that you can put in another game. It's a great idea. And I think that's why a very big area in the future for software development. Well, AI might just destroy the internet because you'll never be able to tell who's real and who isn't, which could really mess things up. But AI could also be very useful for multiplayer games that nobody wants to play, except a few people. Because there's so many games that have come out recently that fit that description. Really good, well-made, a lot of people worked really hard on it. Video games. The battle royale genre or big free-for-all genre is more and more popular. But the problem with that is it assumes that you have a big player base. So what if, you know, what the fuck? Start downloading it. God damn it. What if you could use AI to populate your video game that no one wants to play except a few people with players that you couldn't distinguish from real players, to where it was still fun to play the game. Yeah, you might not feel like you're actually beating other human players, you know, instinctually. But just from a pure gameplay perspective, it might really feel like you're playing against other people. So much so that it's still fun to play the game. So you could keep games alive with a small player base that are supposed to be like big battle royale games. And I know it sounds awful, but by using bots. Like, I'm super against using AI, putting AI into multiplayer games without telling anybody that it is AI. and then having the AI be like bad at playing the game, right? Or maybe good at playing the game, but in a stupid way that is like not fun to play against. But I don't know, maybe if you could like use AI to simulate a real player, you could actually keep some of these games alive for much longer, which people would appreciate, I would think. Oh, this is installing super fast. It's only 6 gig. They create a new scene and stuff. So what I think I need is some kind of mobile platform that goes like right here, where I can that I wear, I can walk with, like a little like fold out table. It would really get in the way probably, but if I could just use a mouse and keyboard while I'm walking, then I could, and then get the AR goggles.
Compliments of the day to you, sir.
I'm basically just walking along here, doing whatever I need on my computer, playing games, playing Chess Arena. Okay, so let me try to set this up real quick. Ugh. My third monitor. Should be strenuously reading more confessions, but I don't know, maybe just one book a day is enough. So now, I don't have enough plugs for this. Do I? Well, unless I can turn this into a shit. And I do have that adapter. I don't think it would work. So, oh, that might work. Well, here's the thing. If I could get this to work over here, as an audio input source. Audio input capture. Headset? No, it's not. Microphone. Test, 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 test. We'll just switch it to the webcam for now. Is it just me or does that look stretched? This can plug in over here. Very careful not to drop the computer. The main monitor. Okay. This is safe. This can actually. Got this thing. Add a source, or window capture, or no, window capture. Where's the game? Game capture? Specific window, chess arena. Fit to screen. Transform, fit to screen. Put it beneath down here. There we go. Check, check, 1, 2. Audio input capture. Can't hear me at all. Check, check, 1, 2. Actually, audio input capture. Can't hear me at all. That's not too bad, is it? Check, check, 1, 2. Actually, check, check, 1, 2. Check. That's not too bad, is it? Check, check, 1, 2. Actually,
Need to exit the game for a minute. And reopen it so it opens on the correct display. Ugh. Okay. Oh, it didn't work. So you're gonna use a window mode or something? It's probably because launcher opened. Graphics window that over here. Borderless. There we go. All right. Okay, so this is my logged into my account. Check 1 2. Check 1 2. I got turned down. I'll turn on the master volume. Okay. Can I play this game with this trackball mouse? That's the question. Battle Royale. The Fray. That's a new mode. Sure, let's try it. I actually like this character. He's supposedly the hardest to play, but he's cool because well, that's nice they give you time to like. What the shit? Oh, this is gonna be so hard. Oh, and I can't hit Q, E, and R. Or maybe I can, because I actually... Yeah, actually... W, E... I don't think I set R on some mouse stuff, so I just have to like, press the button. Which is crazy. If I beat anyone like this, it's a bug. See, I could play classical chess probably, like, in no time limit. Whoa. Oh, so hard. Wait. Oh my gosh, pawns can only go... They changed how pawns work. Interesting. But can pawns move diagonal to attack? Maybe they didn't change how pawns work. I don't know. Ah! Oh, he's got me. That was easy. What the fuck? I spawned on. in danger. No, don't go there. Fuck. Where's my pawn? Spawn the pawn. Gotcha. Oh, I guess I'm good. Coming up for a early morning workout. Hey. Okay. So the pawn's gonna move. Oh, maybe it can move. Alright, let me try again. Like, can I then go up here? Move that way, so he's diagonal. Yeah. Okay. Army of the Dead. This is like really hard, but it's not impossible. Okay, I'm gonna actually play a little game, I think. Play. Guess I'm playing this guy. Ooh, there's a new killer. Actually, half him down. There's the same pieces. No! hard because it's freaking mouse on the piece. No. Oh no. No. What? Getcha. Actually. Kids. I feel this player so much. I'm screwed. Oh, it's lucky. I can't believe I lasted this long with this trackball mouse. What the heck? These queens are going off the board. Gotta go. Oh, come on. Wrong foot. Oh, crack. Close. So close. No! Ah. That was just a misclick, guys. I knew I had to do it there. Still don't really understand how pawns work. They were probably a little confused about how to make pawns work. Because obviously in normal chess, you can only attack with a pawn diagonally, unless you're doing an en passant. But in this game, the NPC pawns still destroy you just by moving in one direction. But the pawns that the character I'm playing spawns seem to work differently. So it's kind of confusing. Because you get to use my bolts. Press it, press on. Yeah, it's a real player, apparently. Better watch out. Got you. Aha. Oh no. That was almost a disaster. I said move. Oh, bullshit. Yes, I got him. It's pretty easy to just kill the king right off the bat. Got one of these blue guys. I put a pawn right here. He can't hit. He can't move into the king. Yeah. Gonna move there. Here. Yeah, there we go. That's interesting. Such a move. What's going on up here? No. Better run. Army of the dead. It's too hard. I'm dead. Yep. Well played. This is the using this thing so next to a puzzle. Not bad part. See ya. Let's see if I can ambush somebody from these bushes. That's deadly. It's a deadly trap. Okay, watch this, watch this, watch this. He's got a command. Juked him. Yikes. Get out of the fire! Get out of the fire! What are the results? Driven head to stuck in a brain loop, escalating on test failure to the chair. Made community call out needed. Verified the failure was a pre-existing test isolation flake. Test passed the following. Failed only in the multi-file suite. As a prior test leaks. I don't know what it's talking about. Final finding. You can't override a flake via GB writes. Pipeline reruns and skates supportively. Which is correct design. Next, fix the test isolation leak. Okay, that's off. How do we get out? See, like when I hit the escape button, my thought is that it's going to bring up a menu that lets me quit the game. That's normally how that stuff works. $9.67. Hey, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Hey, just checking in, seeing how you're doing. Looks like you're troubleshooting a bunch of random errors and stuff. Hopefully you're going through the normal protocol of like having QA and stuff automatically test and try to fix and review and ship this stuff, right? Like via the holodeck, and you're not just trying to fix it yourself every time. Yeah, I mean, if you're noticing that things are happening that are bugs, what I want you to do is file it as a Jira task and make sure it gets moved to the front of the dispatch queue, right? Because there's a process that the holodeck goes through that makes it so anything that gets built is going to work, right? And conform to everything else that's been built. Yeah, and ideally, it's the project manager that does this kind of thing. You know, didn't we talk about that? Like, you're not really the project manager of the holodeck. The Picard persona is supposed to be the project manager. You're just kind of, you know, a temporary outside agent that's been helping me build this, you know, from a safe vantage point. But once it's up and running, the actual project managers are supposed to be the ones that watch the workers work and, you know, file any bug reports they might notice. Good. Yeah, at this point, this clog might be interfering more than it's helping. Just kind of scared to switch off from him because he runs outside of the holodeck. So if the holodeck crashes, fails to restart properly, I don't lose contact with this conversation. But you know, it's not that hard to start the holodeck back up if it fails. Which is how I was doing it for a long time. I was talking to the actual holodeck project manager, and anytime the holodeck wouldn't restart correctly, I would just ask like a root clod to start it back up. It was that simple. Yeah, but you know, I remember when I was actually talking to the appropriate project manager, he would interfere and try to do things he wasn't supposed to, like you just did. So we were very careful to make sure that he had no way to access the code that was being worked on, right? We tried to make a system where he was forced to dispatch the work and follow protocol. See, this is the kind of useful stuff that I actually do as the human involved. You know, I just check in and be like, hey, you're not doing what I think you're doing, are you? And most of the time it's like, well, yeah, I guess I am. And I just, you know, get it back on the right track. All right, 10 miles. I've been live for exactly 4 hours. That's up. It's all right.